Well, hi there, y'all. Welcome to Cooking with Karis. Let's talk about what's on today's menu. Today, we're going to be whipping up a great big bowl of peace. Yes, that's right, peace. Not a piece of pie, not a piece of pizza, not peas, but peace. We're talking about peace. Now, I started looking through my cookbook and I was looking for the recipe for peace, and I wasn't really sure what the recipe was. So I reached out to some of our friends to find out what those ingredients would be. Let's see, right here, right next to the yellow cake. Gwen's recipe for peace is, I just love it. Close your eyes so you can think. When you have peace, it smells like honeysuckle and fresh air. Oh, yum. Now, Joseph's recipe for peace is a little bit different. To get ready to make peace, you need to do nothing or something gentle. When peace is done and all cooked up, it should look like a peaceful sleeping dragon and smell like dandelions. That's how you know it's done. For Gavin, his recipe is even more different. To get ready to whip up some peace, you need calmness, quietness, certainly a nonviolent atmosphere, while Callan's recipe is a big dose of patience, and it should smell and taste like juicy green apples. Yum! Now, Noah's recipe for peace includes the sounds of outside, like birds, and you need alone time to find it. In Kate's recipe for peace, it should smell like warm cookies straight out of the oven, and it feels like something that's familiar. Sam's recipe for peace includes all the good stuff, and it feels and it tastes wonderful when it's done. It should make you feel incredible and amazing. Doesn't that sound like the best dish ever? To make Hudson's recipe for peace, you need family. It will taste like cake and it feels warm and cozy on your insides. Yes. Now, the last one that I found here was Elliot's unique recipe for peace. And in his recipe, peace looks like happiness, seeing anyone you want. It feels amazingly calm with a dash of excitement. So many different recipes with really great ideas. With so many recipes for peace, how's a girl supposed to choose? I have an idea. Why don't we crack open our Good Book Cookbook? That's right, the Good Book Cookbook. And today we're going to be in the book of Mark. Now, Mark is one of the 4 Gospels that we have in our New Testament. What are the other Gospels in the New Testament? Tell your parents and impress them. Our other Gospels are Matthew, Luke, and John. Now, what is the recipe for a gospel? What is included in the recipe for a gospel? Oh, that's right. To be included as a gospel, your book needs to tell about the birth, the life, the death of Jesus, right? It tells Jesus' story. That's the recipe for a gospel. So today we're in the Gospel of Mark. Matthew, Mark, second book of the New Testament, and we're going to be in chapter 4. Now, if you want to read the text from your Bible, which I'm all for, your Good Book Cookbook, of course, we're going to be in Mark chapter 4, starting with little verse number 35. But today I'm going to be reading to you from the Jesus Storybook Bible, the Little Good Book Cookbook. So I'm glad for you to follow along in your Bible, or just listen and let the text sink in. Okay. The captain of the storm. The sun was going down. The air was warm and still. "Let's go across the lake," Jesus said to his friends. Jesus had been helping people all day, and now he was tired. So they left the crowds at the shore and set out in a small fishing boat. Jesus climbed into the boat to take a nap. As soon as his head touched the pillow, he fell fast asleep. It was a beautiful evening. A gentle breeze rustled the sails. The friends were chatting happily as they headed out into the middle of the lake. Everything was perfect. Just right for a nice, quiet sail. They were only about halfway across when out of nowhere, whirling winds swept across the lake, fierce and strong like a hurricane. A blinding flash of lightning lit up the sky. Thunder roared right overhead. The storm blew the water into towering waves that hurled the little boat up, and sent it hurling, crashing back down and down. The fishing boat was blown and buffeted and tossed and turned back and forth and up and down, left and right and round and round. And in the middle of the storm, Jesus was sleeping. Now, Jesus' friends had been fishermen all their lives, but in all their years fishing on this lake, they had never once seen a storm like this one. No matter how hard they struggled with the ropes and the sails, they couldn't control their boat. This storm was too big for them. But the storm wasn't too big for Jesus. "Help!" they screamed. "Wake up! Quick! Jesus! Jesus!" Jesus opened his eyes. "Rescue us! Save us!" they shrieked. "Don't you care?" Of course Jesus cared, and this was the very reason he had come, to rescue them and to save them. Jesus stood up and spoke to the storm. "Hush," he said. That's all. And the strangest thing happened. The wind and the waves recognized Jesus' voice. They had heard it before, of course. It was the same voice that made them in the very beginning. They listened to Jesus, and they did what he said. Immediately, the wind stopped. The water calmed down. It glittered innocently in the moonlight. It lapped quietly against the sides of the boat as if nothing had happened. The little boat bobbed gently up and down. There was a deep stillness and a great quiet all around. Then Jesus turned to his friends. "Why were you scared?" he asked. "Did you forget who I am? Did you believe your fears instead of me?" Jesus' friends were quiet as the wind and the waves, and into their hearts came a different kind of storm. "What kind of man is this?" they asked themselves anxiously. "Even the winds and the waves obey him." They said, because they didn't understand. They didn't realize yet that Jesus was the Son of God. Jesus' friends had been so afraid they had only seen the big waves. They had forgotten that if Jesus was with them, they had nothing to be afraid of, no matter how small their boat or how big their storm. Y'all, did you hear that? There was a storm, and what was Jesus doing? He wasn't taking a nap. He was sleeping. He slept through the lightning and the thunder, the wind and the rain. It was a loud and messy storm. I mean, when the wind started picking up and the waves started to get so big. It was just so big and so loud and so overwhelming. The lightning was happening and they didn't know what was going on. And all Jesus did was say, "Hush." And everything was still, and everything was quiet. He calmed the storm. He brought peace with only the word calm, quiet, still, gentle. Peace came when Jesus told it to. My friends, the same is true for us. Our life doesn't always feel calm. so many times it can feel like the storm. It can feel like but peace is always something that we can bake up because it only requires one ingredient. Just one ingredient. And that one ingredient is Jesus. All we need to do to whip up a big, huge dose of peace is to ask Jesus to bring it. Now, it is no mistake that peace is included in our recipe for fruit of the Spirit salad that is found in the book of Galatians. No, because you see the fruit that comes from us, that shows everyone around us who our great big God is, there is plenty of stuff that can bring storms, that can bring worry, that can bring trouble, that can bring what feels like waves crashing, out of control, anxiety, nervousness, and a big fat mess, right? There's plenty of stuff that brings this, but it's Jesus that brings the peace. And once we have the peace inside of us, it can flow out like honey. Now, there is not just one recipe for peace, like we heard earlier, but there is only one ingredient, and that ingredient is Jesus. Now, before we go, viewers, one of our viewers had reached out, called in, and asked for a recipe for hills. Now, while this recipe is actually an old family secret, I'm going to share it. I'm going to go ahead and share it with you. Just let me look it up right here, right next to the meringue. The recipe for hills. How are hills made? Now, to make the perfect hill, you can go about it a few different ways. The one that requires the least amount of ingredients is to get yourself a glacier and to melt it. Now, when glaciers melt and they shift, they dug up ground and created yummy, perfect hills, perfect for picnicking. Now, if you prefer a few extra steps in your recipe, you can use erosion and deposits that were created by wind and rain. But of course, the simplest way to go about creating the perfect hill for your next family gathering is with currents of water. When the water dries up, hills can be left. Now, tune in next week and we'll see what we can bake up from our good book cookbook. Okay, are you ready to try the Fruits of the Spirit song with me? Sing along. Let's start with red, juicy strawberries. The fruit of the Spirit's not a strawberry. The fruit of the Spirit's not a strawberry. If you've got a strawberry, you might as well eat it, 'cause it's not a fruit of the Spirit. The Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. How about yummy pineapple? The fruit of the Spirit's not a pineapple. The fruit of the Spirit's not a pineapple. If you've got a pineapple, you might as well eat it, 'cause it's not a fruit of the Spirit. The Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. How about one more? Watermelon. The fruit of the Spirit's not a watermelon. The fruit of the Spirit's not a watermelon. If you've got a watermelon, you might as well eat it, 'cause it's not a fruit of the Spirit. The Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, ready? There is one more verse I want to show you about peace today. We're going to turn in our Bibles, our Good Book Cookbook, to the book of John, and we're going to look at chapter 14 and verse 27. John is another one of those gospel books. Okay, so while you're turning to John 14, I want to tell you that this is one of those verses that is really good to write on your heart. What that means is to memorize it so that when you need it, the words are already on your lips. They're already ready to go. When Jesus is speaking to us in John 14, he knows that his physical body, his self, won't be with us for forever. He won't be here on earth with us forever. And he knows that his days on earth are precious few. So he gives us a promise of peace. Okay, so that's where we are looking in John chapter 14. That's the big number. And you're going to be looking for little number 27. That's the verse. I want you to hear this promise, and I want you to hear that Jesus is saying this to you. I leave my peace with you. I give my peace to you. I do not give it to you as the world does. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. My friends, there are going to be storms. There will be hard stuff. There will be sad and difficult. There will be struggles. But Jesus has left his peace on earth in us. It's in us. He gave it to us, and it's ours if we claim it. So when you need it, just ask. It's already been gifted to you. It's already been promised to you. I want you to add to your fruit of the Spirit puzzle. Go ahead and draw in peace. Now, I forgot to mention that to you last week. So on your fruit of the Spirit puzzle, you should have love, joy, and peace now. And it should all be blooming on your tree. If you haven't gotten a fruit of the Spirit puzzle from me yet, please reach out. I will send one to you happily. Now, I just want to take a second and talk to my older friends for just a minute, okay? We don't have time to talk about it here right now in this setting. I wish we did. I wish we could, but we don't. And I have something that I really want you to think about, okay? There is a difference between being a peacemaker and being a peacekeeper. A difference between a peacemaker and a peacekeeper. A peacemaker and a peacekeeper. And I want you to spend some time really thinking about that. Pray about that. Write it down in your journal about it. Talk with your parents, okay? Because there is a need in this weary world for both peacemakers and peacekeepers. But it all stems from the fact that the peace of God is in us, and it flows out of us like fruit grows on trees. All right, friends, before we close today, I have a book for you called Peace is an Offering by Annette, Lebackes. This book reads a whole lot like our Psalms do. So it's kind of like a song if you think about it. So I give you a psalm about peace. Peace is an offering. Peace is an offering, a muffin or a peach. A birthday invitation, a trip to the beach. Peace is gratitude for simple things. Light through a leaf, a dragonfly's wing. A kiss on the head, raindrops and dew, a walk in the park, a bowl of hot stew. Peace is holding on to one another. Peace is the words you say to a brother. Will you stay with me? Will you be my friend? Will you listen to my story? till the very end? Will you wait when I'm slow? Will you calm my fears? Will you sing to the sun to dry my tears? Will you keep me company when I'm all alone? Will you give me shelter when I've lost my home? You might find peace in a photograph or in the deep boom of a belly laugh. And even in the wake of tragedy, even then you might find her in the rubble of a fallen tower, in the sorrow of your darkest hour, in the hat of a hero, in the loss of a friend. Peace is joining, not pulling apart. It's the courage to bear a wounded heart. It's a safe place to live. It's freedom from fear. It's a kiss or a hug when you've lost someone dear. So offer a cookie, walk away from a fight, comfort a friend through the long dark night, sing a quiet song, catch a falling star. May peace walk beside you wherever you are. That is something that I wish for you and pray for you, my friends, that peace would walk beside you wherever you are. And we know that's possible because peace is God in us. It only takes one ingredient, Jesus, for you to have peace. So close your eyes and take a deep breath and put one hand on your heart. And from me to you, I want to say, may God be with you and give you peace this week. I love you, my friends. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.